It's alright, it'll only bring us down anyway.
Good evening to everyone. The sun has dipped below the horizon. The sky keeps lips are shimmering off the harbour, and the air is thick with the humidity. You are joining us live for round 7 of the JSR F1 2025 Championship, and we are coming to you from the crown jewel of night racing, the Marina Bay circuit here in Singapore. If you haven't been following the drama lately, where have you been? We are coming off a World War 3-1 race where the weekend has shut the championship standings on the foundations. We've seen technical masterclass, heartbreaking DNFs.
And he scored!
Welcome everybody back to the JSR Championship. We are here for round 8, I think, of the JSR Championship. We had the 3-1 race last time out in Monza, Monaco and Imola, but now we are here at the Singapore Grand Prix, and now there's only 13 people, unfortunately, so we are missing 7 people, but hopefully with 13 people that could still make up for the course of a good race, and we'll see what happens here tonight. Of course, 18 minutes of qualifying session and a 31 lap race, and if you can hear me breathing heavily, that's because I've had my dinner and I've had a lot to eat, so I'm a bit bloated tonight, so that's why I'll be out of breath. But the first race here in Singapore was first held back in 2008, and it was known as the First Night Race and Crashgate, so it had 2 special titles, and the winner of that race was Fernando Alonso. The first ever night race in Formula 1 history before was here. Let me just try and adjust my volume because it is a bit loud. But Nelson Piquet Jr. deliberately crashed here on lap 14. This triggered a safety car that perfectly benefited Alonso's strategy. Alonso pitted and jumped the field, and Felipe Massa, however, had the Ferrari release him with the fuel hose still attached to the pit stop, and he finished with P13 in the end. But the scandal exploded 1 year later when Nelson Piquet dropped out of Formula 1 due to his horrendous performances, except back in 2008 Germany when he finished in P2, and Renault was found guilty of race manipulation, and it may have cost Massa the 2008 World Championship as well. But the Singapore Grand Prix has been around since 2008, and it has delivered some good, impressive performances recently around here. It's not a bad track. Of course, the degradation around here is quite high, plus the humidity and heat as well is quite significantly high around the circuit. So that means every single driver may struggle with the tight temperatures, and we know that the grip around here as well, not always around to give the drivers the grip they need. So let's see what happens here tonight, and we'll see what transpires. I do believe I raced here last season in JSR in Singapore, and I think I finished this at the top 10 despite it being a dramatic race. It was a dramatic race last season around here with quite a few safety cars interrupting the race, but hopefully there's not many safety cars, and I don't wish that many safety cars would appear either, because obviously there's only 13 people, so if there's any safety cars around here I will be surprised and annoyed. But anyways, let's go aboard with the Mercedes man. The rear tuck miss going in towards turn number 1. We'll see how he takes it through 1. We go 2, which follows immediately in towards 3, hits the apex in towards turn 3, then bounce off the curb at the exit of the corner, on the power once again, headed down in towards this right-hander. We go turn number 5. He left his battery on, which is quite surprising as well. I don't want to be doing that, especially running no traction, because if you use the battery, that overloads the power induction intake, and that means you'll have massive wheel spin and therefore spin. So don't activate the ERS mid-corner, because you will end up spinning and have a massive wheel spin as well. As McLaren's gone down at turn number 1, he has gone off the track. I think that's Kick, who may be on the exit of the track. It is. So I thought for 1 second that Kick, for some reason, was stranded there, but I think he was letting somebody go on their flying lap. JSR Ryan is currently on his flying lap. We don't have the championship leader here tonight, which is Sasha. Sasha is currently not here tonight, unfortunately, so we don't have the championship leader, which is a shame. But the championship leader is Sasha by 118 points, and Sasha is currently in a league of his own right now with a 30-point lead. He has the luxury of playing a long game tonight, but he is not here, so he hopes the guys behind him won't try and leapfrog him with the championship. But that's not going to happen, because he's 30 points ahead. He had 25 points for a race win. So the man in second place, which is Hadzikas, he needs a miracle, and literal miracle, climbing 40 positions in the standings. He sits in P2 with 88 points, but he has the Dutch Norwegian sandwich right behind him. Amos Kick, 86 points. Ryan Benning, 83 points, are close enough to smell his exhaust fumes. One bad corner from Hadzikas today, and he could drop the run-out spot to 4th in the blink of an eye. Hadzikas has really climbed up the championship this season, and he had a couple of race wins, didn't he? I'm not quite sure which race he won in that three-way fight we had in Monaco, Monza, and Imola. If I had to guess, it wasn't Imola, it was probably Monza he won. I'm not quite sure. Now I need to go check the results. I do have the results down here, but unfortunately I am currently just need to check because I haven't seen so far. So he has won the Monaco. Yeah, it was Monaco. I didn't think it was for some reason because Monaco's not really good at a pad. So it was the Monaco Grand Prix he did win. There he is right now in the Williams in P13 with the DRS wide open. Let's see what Khatakas could do with his up form in Resurgence so far. Eric goes towards the top on the standings with a 27.2 and he's 3/10 quicker than Ryan. So Eric has been mighty quick as well this season. He has picked up a win as well. But here comes Khatakas. What can he do in the Williams? He goes up into P4 and just behind Robbie Jacobs. And Eric won the Qatar Grand Prix. He was ahead of Kick, and what a race for him as well. He managed to defend from Kick the whole race long and kept him at bay, as Kick is currently in P9 on a flying lap. Now, Kick had a very strong start to the season, but somehow he went downhill after that. But he won in China, of course, and he also won at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He was on impressive form as well. Picked up P2 in Qatar and also at the British GP when he finished in P2 because nobody at the British GP could catch Kevin Zuckerberg. Kevin Zuckerberg was in a league of his own. But let's see what Kick now does in this middle sector. The corner where Verstappen and Lando Norris almost lost it a couple of years ago here in Singapore. It is a difficult braking zone because you're out at a high speed and you take a wide angle too to maximise the track. As here comes Kick now, obliterating the curves there as well, going towards the right side as he makes his way towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. What lap time is it from Kick? It goes up into P3, so quite a big margin between Eric and Ryan there. Usually the margins around here in Singapore, not in Singapore, but in this division is quite finite indeed, so quite surprised to see a big margin. But Eric once again doing a mega job here in JSR as Mark is up into P5. Let me just create a party for 1 second. Right, I am in a party right now by myself, so hopefully I can, there we go, just try to make sure everything is up to date and standard. There we go. Yep, so everything should be fine by now. Mark is up into P5 in the Williams then with a 27.8. Didn't participate back at the Baku Grand Prix. And he has suffered as well recently in this league. He hasn't had the best standards or performance. And he finished in P10 at the, I think it was the Imola Grand Prix at the time. But yeah, he hasn't really been around that much since Mark this year. But we'll see if he could try and find his resurgence once again. I know it's been a difficult start with multiple DNFs as well in the past couple of races and contact with other people. His best result came at the Austrian Grand Prix when he finished in P4, and that was the only highlight this season. Elsewhere, it's just been a shocker for him, so hopefully he can bounce back after a disappointment. Mummy Nick, this is the driver I was behind in the Singapore Grand Prix. I was stuck behind the Kick Sauber for a long time, and I followed him all the way to the end of the race too, so it was a bit of a disaster there, being stuck behind Mummy Nick. I'm not able to overtake him, but up into P9 so far. Misha, however, has DNF. Stefan is up into P7 as well, and Venjoke is the one that's usually what's the word? Tutoring him, mentoring him. There we go. He is helping him, I must say. As Stefan's currently P7, he has picked up a podium this season back at the Austrian Grand Prix. He finished in P4 as well at the Italian Grand Prix, so not bad results for Stefan. And he also picked up another P3 at the Monza Grand Prix when it was a Racing Bull 1-2. So Stefan has currently picked up a few podiums here this season, and we'll see how it transpires afterwards as well. And on board there with Mummy Nick in the Kick Sauber as he makes his way down towards the end of the first sector. It's going to be a 26.6. He's 1/10 down, so not really on an improvement there in the Kick Sauber. We'll see Robert Jacobs coming towards the end of the first sector as well. Another driver who's a high caliber, but he hasn't really had the best look either, as Robbie Jacobs there, all squirrely on the curb on the outside of turn 7. Somebody behind him has just got off the track there. What if it was Fireblades? Because Misha has retired on the circuit, not on the circuit, sorry, from this qualifying session. But Robbie Jacobs now performs his way down towards the sequence of slow speed corners. We saw Kimi Raikkonen crash here back in 2008. It was a Singapore sling. I do believe other people like Kamui Kobayashi and other people too who hit the wall there as well. I think Kamui Kobayashi literally launched off the curb and smashed into the wall. But here comes Robbie Jacobs now coming towards the end of this, but set up by 0.3 of a second is Robbie Jacobs as he now makes his way out using all the road on the outside there too, and a bit too much of it as we now make our way towards the end of this middle sector. Milan Langer has joined this session, so he'll be driving then, and I wasn't expecting him here tonight either. Here comes Robbie Jacobs now towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. Is this pole? It is! It's pole position with a 27.194 and ahead of Eric by only a few hundredths of a second there, so not much separated those two, as Ryan there towards the end of the first sector is 600ths down in the first sector. He was the winner, of course, back at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Oh, he hits the wall massively too, does Ryan, and he still gets away with it, but he's just overdoing it now, and unfortunately for him the lap time is unfolded and ruined in, and he goes off and spins as well, as he knows that he can't improve on his lap time, so he bails out of it for the time being. Staveman, however, coming towards the end of the middle sector, he's 1/10 up. Sorry, that's coming towards, I think, 17 and 18 now. Now coming towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. We'll see what the Dutch Ferrari driver could do as he now makes his way towards the line. He goes. It's going to be P6 for Staveman with a 27.864. And only a few hundreds behind Marcus, while the track is starting to ramp up as we've got more drivers out there on the circuit, including the pole sitter, or the former pole sitter of Eric in P2. And looks like Robbie Jacobs and Eric are absolutely flying so far. Robbie Jacobs, the former champion here of SDN, but JSR, sorry, as Eric scrapes the wall outside turn 5 there as he makes his way down towards the end of the first sector. We go towards turn 7. He's 1/10 up in the first sector as he used a lot of curb on the outside too for good measure, really trying to utilize every single part of this racetrack. You can see him there using the extremities, the outer extremities of the racetrack, and he's trying to carry the speed through the corners as well, trying to keep the minimum speed up and trying get slingshots out of the exit as well. As we now make our way towards this middle sector we go. Eric going underneath the Anderson Bridge where we saw Charles Leclerc crash back in 2018, and he makes his way out of the corner. It seems very, very stable so far, the rear end doesn't seem to have massive wheel spin, because that is a very difficult corner as well. We saw Alex Albon and Perez crash there back in 2023 as well, I believe. But that is a difficult corner because it's a low speed corner and traction as well. It's mighty difficult to get the power down without losing wheel spin, as Eric now makes his way towards the final few parts of this racetrack. We'll see if the Dutchman can get himself back on pole. Kit goes up into P3 in the McLaren, but here comes Eric. The Dutchman goes towards the top of the timer sheets, and it's a 26.976 there for Eric in the Haas, and what such blistering pace this man has got. Ryan, however, is down or up in the middle sector by 0.5 of a second, but he's messed up somewhere. And Mark as well up into P5 in the Williams ahead of Khatikas, his teammate. So both Williams drivers are doing a mighty job so far, and they're currently occupying the third row of the grid. The first driver out there beginning the qualifying session is Retuk in Mercedes, as Ralph and P13 haven't set a lap time, neither has Milan Langer, but Milan Langer is currently out there in the Haas, as we've got Torpey now coming towards now the end of the sector. He's up into P11 there, but not the lap time he is looking for. He's just outside the top 10 there. Milan Langer, former champion of JSR. I think he's only won one of them, but he's got the most wins in JSR. Does the Dutchman. He heads towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. I don't expect this lap time to be too spectacular, considering that he wasn't supposed to race either. I doubt he was going to have some practice in. It is somebody's birthday in his family, as he flicks the car in very aggressively towards turn 3. The car seems like it's got a good rotation underneath the hands of Milan Langer. As the Dutchman heads towards turn 5, he goes, flicks the car in, puts it in third gear, which is quite unknown, or not quite a regular gear to go into, because people use fourth or fifth. So a bit lower gear than expected there as he revs it out, going towards the end of the first sector with a 26.3. Not quite sure if that is a decent first sector. Coming towards turn 8 right now as he flicks the car in second gear. We saw George Russell and Roman Grosjean crashed there back in 2019 between the Haas and the Williams driver, as now Milan Langer heads towards the end of the sequence of corners we go. Takes a very aggressive approach there as well. It's all about attacking these curves, but if you overdo it, you can find yourself in the barriers. But this seems like a good lap time so far for Milan, as he's so close to hitting the wall on the inside there of the Anderson Bridge. Now the DRS once again is active on the Haas there. His middle sector is going to be a 3.166. This seems like it's a decent lap time so far. Goes a bit deeper towards turn number 13 there, so may have lost a little bit of lap time. Has Milan Langer as he makes his way now towards the final few parts of this racetrack we go. It's a long straight headed down towards those final couple of corners there before we stamp on the throttle once again. Now flicking our way towards the final corners of this racetrack. It's a 27.8. It goes up into P8. Not a bad lap time there, but plenty of time to be found, especially for his first lap. What stands out to me in this championship so far this season, that Kick is the only repeated race winner this season too, which is quite an interesting remark to make as well. So other people, well, I say Sasha is because he won the Italian Grand Prix and he also won the Imola Grand Prix as well. But Kick and Sasha, the two repeated race winners this season, and other people this season have got one to their name. So Ryan Benning was the race winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, I didn't turn up to that, so I didn't quite see it. But after that, he hasn't really won because he had bad luck at the Chinese Grand Prix when he was lagging everywhere as well. So it didn't go well for him at all. Problems at the Austrian Grand Prix, finished in P5. Azerbaijan, he retired from that race too. But I expected big things from Ryan this season, but it hasn't gone his way. And he's quite far down in the championship too. So a long deficit to make up for Ryan Benning. He's currently P4. The gap from P2 to P4 is only about 5 points, sorry. That's not a big points haul either. Only a few points separates those two. And Sasha is on 118. 110, sorry. So Sasha not being here tonight, those guys like Hatakas, Kick, Ryan, Stevan, do you know what? Stevan's not too far behind either. Neither is Fireplace. There is two people on 77 points, which is Fireplace and Stevan Robert, sorry. Stevan is on 79 points, Ralph's on 76 points, Milan Langer is on 51. So if you think about it, the championship from first all the way down to seventh, it's not too far behind, and everybody's had a flurry of mixed results so far this season. So it's been one to watch as Torpe has invalidated. We're coming towards the end of qualifying right now, and so far majority of people are out on the circuit. We've got Milan Langer, who has retired in the pit lane, so only done one lap, which was good enough for P8 there. So Sasha needs to get a move on. But Ryan's coming through turn 4 right now with the DRS wide open as he scrapes the barriers. Who touched the barriers there on the outside of turn 4, turn 5? Was it Kevin Magnussen who did that? I think it was. We don't really see many instances of the exit of turn 5 because you can just roll off the corner there. As now Ryan, 1/10 up in the first sector is the Dutchman. Can he keep it clean this time? 2 previous invalidations for the Norwegian Dutchman there in the Racing Bull. So we'll see if Ryan can keep it clean and get the lap time he needs. He's currently sat on the second row just behind Kick in the McLaren. Whilst Kick, Robbie Jacobs and Eric are currently on their flying laps so far for the last lap of this qualifying session. Qualifying is now concluded, but drivers are able to finish their lap times if they cross the line before the lap time ends or the timer ends. Here goes Ryan towards the end of the middle sector, 5/10 up. This is an absolute blind of a lap time. Can he find more time in the final sector? It's only 4 corners, but these 4 corners can catch you out because they're slow speed and it's very easy to make a mistake as well, especially on the inside there if you take too much curve. It's so easy to go in hot as well because you carry so much speed with the DRS wide open. Here goes Ryan Benning now towards the final 2 corners he goes. Is this pole? And the answer is no. It's P2, 27.046. But there's others out there who could beat that or bench him, as Eric is up on his personal best. The Dutchman absolutely flying here in this qualifying session. There's a Williams ahead of us who's parked up, and I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but Eric's messed up, and he's overdone it. and the tyres are starting to reach now their peak performance in terms of temperature. But Eric almost beat his lap time. That's incredible. Off by 4,000 of a second. How much lap time could Eric find if it wasn't for that big mistake in that part of the track, as Mark and Khatikas go P5 and P6 for Williams? Where's Fireblaze currently out there so far? Ryan, however, or Robert, shall I say, is up into P3, but he's still improving. Here he comes towards the final 2 corners on this racetrack. Is this pole? No, it isn't. It's P3 still. Ryan's up into P2. Stave Van and the Ferrari's got P5. And that wasn't a bad qualifying session, was it? But it is Eric on a provisional or pole position for this qualifying session, and that will seal the deal for the race. What's going to happen in this 31-lap race where the concentration will be high? Luckily, it's not hot and humid, hopefully, with the drivers are. So, luckily, not experiencing the real-life Singapore Grand Prix, because that'll be a true testament to the driver's fitness. But it's still tiring, because the heat and humidity, drivers can lose up to 3 kg of body weight in a sweaty race like this, and expect the fatigue as well, and around this circuit. The close walls, one lock-up, or any misjudgments can lead you in the wall as well. 23 corners around this circuit is a busy layout. The drivers are constantly working the steering wheel, and there's little time to rest on the straight as well. And historically, there's a 100% chance for a safety car that could come up around here as well. And also, I don't think there was a safety car last year in F1 in 2025 in Singapore. I think that was the first ever time Singapore went without a race with a safety car. And it was a shame, because, you know, I wanted that record to keep going, but obviously in 2024, I can't remember who called safety car. It was a long time ago. I know Norris won the race ahead of Verstappen, but I can't remember what happened in the last couple of races in Singapore. The Singapore Grand Prix, which ruined me, was 2017. That's Daniel Keane. Shut up, mate. Shut up. But in 2017, it was Sebastian Vettel, Raikkonen, and Verstappen who crashed in towards turn 1, as Raikkonen got a mega start, Verstappen sandwich, Vettel on the outside, and they both came together. All 3 of them came together, and Alonso got taken out too. And I'm glad Alonso got taken out because it was funny. No, I'm joking. But the light's about to go away then for the Singapore Grand Prix. Let's see who gets a mega start off the line. We're underway here. Just Ryan able to get alongside Eric as we go down in towards turn 1. He pulls to the inside line, takes the lead of the Grand Prix around the outside in towards turn 1. The Ferrari's on the outside too. Tries to convert Rubber going wheel to wheel in towards turn 3 we go. As we can see, Rubber get out of shape there as well for good measure. But it is Eric who maintains the lead as he pushed Ryan all the way to the inside there to try and stop him, overtaking him going in towards turn 1. He was able to sweep around the outside, carry the speed all the way through, but the Ferrari's of Rubber is right to the back of Ryan going down in towards turn 7. Let me get my bearings up. We go. There we go. Fireblaze down to P8, gets pushed off the track there by Fireblaze, and Milan Lange, his former teammate, is there too. These 2 former championships, but there's 2 drivers close together. That is the Mercedes of Retuk, who's going side by side with the Red Bull as they make contact. Misha trying to go up the inside there, but he almost got squeezed in the wall. But luckily, both drivers still going, and he's on the hard compound tyres. This is like a Daniel Ricciardo move against Danny Kvyat, and now the Red Bull's up, but the Red Bull goes to fence him as he tries to go back down the inside. But the door is shut in his face, and he's not able to go through. Mummy Nick in the background too, looking to try and take advantage of the Mercedes, who's now bogged down and under pressure from the Sauber, but he gives a bit of a tap as well as he goes in towards turn 17 there, but not able to make a move so far. The McLaren has got full wind damage, and it looks like the Ferrari there as well. Although Bianca was quite close towards Ryan. Hello, Lewis. How you doing, mate? Good luck for this Saturday in your karting championship. I wish you the best. And here comes Mummy Nick down the inside towards the penultimate corner. There's a spin for the Kick Sauber, and just tagged the right front tyre, the left front tyre of the guy ahead of him, and unfortunately sent him to spin. But Lewis, mate, always nice to see you in the chat. Former league racer, now a karting championship driver. But Eric maintains the lead. DRS is enabled on this lap then on the back straight, headed down in towards turn 7. The DRS is rather useless around here, around this particular part of the track, I must say, unless you're super close and the guy ahead of you is losing battery too. So overtaking is not impossible, but it is difficult, and I wonder how many drivers will struggle as well to try and overtake the guy ahead of him. You need a good release out of turn 4, turn 5 as well, and it's just so tricky because turn 5 is a low-speed corner. You're in the turbulent wake of the guy ahead of you, and you struggle to get the exit you need as well. The engine's overheated, the tyres are overheated too, and you suffer with thermal degradation too, which means the tyres get hotter and hotter as you slide in towards the corners too. So following drivers around here is going to be a difficult task tonight, and I wonder who will start struggling. But Eric has got the best view in front of him because there's nobody in front of him. He's able to control this race, and this has been the Eric we've known. You know, in different leagues, he's been mighty quick and competitive. He's only had one win this season, but he is a reserve driver. He hasn't turned up to every single race there this season. I think he had a stinker in the last couple of races at the 3-1 championship race. I can't remember what it's called. But we did have a different format in the last 2 weeks, and it was 3 races in one with a sprint race and a timing race. But Stefan has said the Grand Prix down in P5. Mark has lost the DRS there, so the Williams and Mark are not able to keep up there on the back of Hattercast. Kick is in that DRS fight for the top 5 as well. Eric, a race winner. Ryan, a race winner. Rubber is a race winner. Kick is a race winner. Stefan not. Stefan hasn't won a race yet this season, but he has been on the podium a few times as well, and he's currently sitting pretty in P5 in the championship as well. What's happened to Mark? He's let his teammate go. I think that's team orders there, because I think he wants Hattercast to get closer towards the top 5 to bring that DRS gap down. But Kick is struggling in the McLaren there. He's almost lost the DRS too, and Stefan pounces on him, puts the pressure on there for P4 too. His lap 3 out of 31. I think a one-stop strategy will be necessary as well around here. Nobody wants to do a two-stop strategy because the two-stop will just cost you and bleed you so much time as well. The deficit is mighty around this track as well. You can see Mark sliding there too, struggling. Like you can see he's indicating that he's struggling on the Minicore Power tyres. The Minicore Power tyre is not the best race tyre for some people. They do struggle, and once they wear out, they start to degrade heavily too and start to slide around. But the hardcore power tyres are so durable, you can take them a long way into the course of the race. Mark has picked up a second at Tampere, which pretty much signifies that he's struggling in this race. Whilst we watch the top 5 then, all in close proximity, hunting down the leader, which is Eric in first place. He may have track position, but how much longer? Because Ryan is on the prowl. Robbie Jacobs too is on the prowl. He's right behind too on the gearbox of Eric. Lap 4 at 31 we go. It is Eric who still leads, but Ryan is hunting him down and looking for his second win since the first race of the season, which was back at the Brazilian Grand Prix, which is quite surprising too. We don't really have Brazil as the first race, but here in JSR we did. Look at the battery he saved up. Now he's able to utilise the battery. DRS enabled. Eric hits the ball on the outside of turn 5. Here comes Ryan there, side by side with the Haas driver. And Ryan takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix there. Muscles his way up into the lead, but Eric goes a bit deeper towards the corner. I'm surprised he didn't let him go. Just let him go, settle into P2 and follow him. Don't fight too hard, because that'll just mess up your tyres as well. Too much degradation in your tyres means an early pit stop, and you don't want to be doing that as well, especially for a track like this. So don't fight too hard in the first part of the race. Just swap back and forth. No need to go side by side. Second place is still a good spot to be in as well. So just maintain that position and fight it back later on the Grand Prix. Follow the DRS at the back of him. There's 3 DRS zones around here. I know they're pretty useless, but still they're pretty handy as well to stay on the back of somebody. I know further behind, sorry, it's a difficult name to pronounce, and I don't have to throat for it either. You've got to pronounce the G in a different way, so apologies about pronouncing his name. But Hattercast in P6 there has brought the gap down to 0.5 of a second. He's got himself back in DRS range of Stefan, which means a good chance for him to move up some positions if he can. And it's still early stages in this race as well, so no pit stops will be happening. I'm sure nobody will try a two-stop strategy. Maybe some will, because the tyre wear might just be too high for them, so might convert over to a two-stop strategy for those people who do suffer with the longevity of tyres. But here we go, over the DRS back open. Will Eric pounce back immediately or just settle for P2? Because these two, they know. And here comes Eric then, side by side with Ryan, going up into turn 7 we go. And it is Eric who claims the lead once again ahead of JSR Ryan. And that's the thing you want to do, just swap back and forth these two. There's no need to try and go side by side. They've got track position. They've got the race in their hands as well. They're controlling this race. They're dictating this race. They have the power in their hands to control this race, because the guys behind, they can't overtake because they're stuck in that DRS train. Whilst these two have the power and say to control this race and dictate it and see what happens as well. But yeah, the wise thing for them to do in this long-term speed, in this long game of chess here, is to just swap back and forth all the time and keep the guys at bay. That's become the norm as well, the prominent norm in these races, where it's just a shame where the guys behind are just stuck in that DRS train, are not able to move forward. But you're just praying and hoping that somebody makes a mistake, like Torpe down there in P13, who's made a mistake in the Aston Martin. Interestingly, only 2 people on the hardcore powered tyres, which is Retalk and Ralph in P14. But of course, Ralph has pitted onto a new set of hardcore powered tyres because he did have damage on the first lap of the race. It's a massive DRS train from first all the way down to 9th, but Misha is out of the DRS train. He had a decent race back at the Imola Grand Prix, but we haven't really seen much of him so far this season. I say Imola Grand Prix, he was up there like, fighting for the lead, but he dropped backwards massively as well, so he was up there fighting for the lead. But here we go, here comes the racing bull, but Ryan slots in back behind the Haas driver for the time being. Then don't want to be making too many silly mistakes as Torpe has retired in the pit lane. Hopefully that's not a safety car because we don't want a safety car to interrupt this race. I like it just the way it is so far, but Mum and Nick down there in P12, all alone in P12 there. Mum and Nick hasn't really been around many races this season in JSR. I know he's missed a couple due to his personal life, because he's a go-karter too, he's a racer. He's struggling too. You can see him really fighting the rear in the car as well, but he is a go-karter in real life too. Just like you, Lewis, if you're still watching, so of course he hasn't got much time in his hands. But as you can see, they're the top 3, super close with each other's DRS as well. Robert Jacobs looking to try and take advantage as well. I mentioned Robbie Jacobs winning the race, but I don't think he has just yet this season. He's still yet to win the races, Robbie Jacobs. He's finished P2 back at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He's had some decent races so far. A ding-dong for him as well, because he's had some scruffy races. He's had some really bad races with contact and losing motivation, getting a bit flustered on the collar there as well for good measure. So it looks like he's able to find his form. And we know that these drivers are so quick, but when these guys just lose their form, they start to just lose their temper and start to make stupid mistakes and overdrive the car, spin all the time as well. Almost swore just then, sorry about that. But Ryan there, sliding through turn 5, the DRS at the back of him, he's got Robert right behind too, so Robert might be forced to move on Ryan. As here comes Ryan, side by side with Eric, once again, in towards turn 7, and that's another clean move as well. What Robert could do in P3, Robert, if he could try and catch Eric off guard as Fireblaze makes the overtake happen on Mark. But what did you say, Lewis? I'm at Wilton Mill in 2 weeks, then again 2 weeks after that, Club 100. Oh my goodness me! Mark has hit the wall, and Mark is just suffering with a lack of talent recently as well in the Williams there. I'm very sorry to say, but he's been struggling massively as well, it must be said. He's another driver that's had a bit of a downfall spiral as well this season. But it's like, I know that I've seen it before. Eric's struggling there as well in the Haas. So, oh, he's got damage. Eric has got front wing damage there too. And that explains why he was 9/10 backwards. And Stefan and Robert behind him doesn't want to be losing time against Eric, who's got a broken front wing as well because he's massively slow in the corners. This could be Ryan's chance to pull away and break free from the DRS if Eric doesn't pit on this lap. He doesn't pit. Robbie Jacobs will be absolutely frustrated. He wants to get past the Haas because the Haas in front of him will probably lose the DRS, especially in the middle sector, especially with the downforce is so crucial at that part of the track, because Ryan will just get a few more tenths in hand over him in that middle sector with more speed, more downforce, more grip, more stability. So Robbie Jacobs in P3, I think he has to overtake Eric right now if he can, but he should be struggling because Eric's still got some decent pace in the Haas, but that's the middle sector to watch out for because that's where he'll be struggling the most in the Haas. I'm not sure he pitched the damage, I didn't see him hit him in the walls, unless I'm blind. But he has hit the wall, but he didn't lose the damage on that occasion. So, yeah, what a shame for Eric there, just making contact with the wall. And the walls are so inviting as well. That's why he'd be so sketchy and wary of them. But Milan Langer and Mark are going side by side, as Milan Langer and Mark are ghosted in one another. But I think eventually Milan Langer will get ahead of him as well, because Mark has got damage too on that Williams car. The front nose is lodged off. But we haven't even talked about the Australian Grand Prix. What's your guys' I know some of the guys watching right now are in the race, but what's your guys' opinion on the Australian Grand Prix? Because, well, I haven't watched the full race. I know that's a bad thing to say. I had to watch the highlights of the Australian Grand Prix. Surprisingly, he's staying on Ryan. Yeah, he is. Quite a surprise. Well, he's very quick, Eric. Very quick. But I'm surprised as you are. Did Robert go off the track there? I wonder, and cut the chicane. I'm not quite sure. So maybe he just overdid it a little bit. Did Ryan and Robin with P3. This track has had a huge modification back in when was it? 2022? You know what? I actually don't know. It has improved racing slightly, but not too much, because we always know the Singapore Grand Prix, yeah, the racing can be a bit dull sometimes, but there is a 100% rate of a safety car too. Back towards 2024, that was a boring race too. I don't like the super clipping, it looks stupid, but races look interesting. Just hopefully Merc aren't going to run away with it. Do you know what? I think Merc are going to run away with it, because they've got a clear pace advantage over the rest of the field, just like in 2014. And in 2014, in 2 or 3 laps, they're like 10 seconds ahead, no joke either. I hope Ferrari are competitive, more competitive, and can challenge Mercedes this season. It could be Mercedes versus Ferrari again. Oh, in the background, somebody is off the track, and it's Mark, who's become a cropper down there in turn 9. And his race has gone from bad to worse, and unfortunately for him, he's struggling. So lap 9 out of 31, Ryan and Mark is in P11. I know there's only 13 people here tonight, as Mum and Nick gets past the McLaren driver of Ralph. Yeah, I know there's only 11 people here tonight, or 13 shall I say, but my motivation's still high for commentating, even though that my commentating recently hasn't been up to standards, because I got to admit, I haven't done much research as I used to, and I only just come in at the very last moment too. I don't do any research, I just, yeah, when it comes to commentate, I commentate. I do research on the leagues, of course, but yeah, the motivation goes down sometimes. So Stefan, lapped in at 31, has pitted to perform the undercut, and I know that the drivers behind were looking to try the undercut, because what options have they got? They are stuck in the DRS train, and as you saw in the race, they can't move forwards other than the top 2 in the race. Those 2 have been going back and forth like a yo-yo effect, but the guys behind them can't make an impression. So the only other option is the undercut. That's why qualifying is so pivotal for the race. And Mark has retired and left the session, so we're down to 12 people. So yeah, only 12 people left in this race, and it is still Ryan who leads this race, the man that won the Australian Grand Prix in round 1, a driver who was very quick as well. Ryan's not too far behind the championship, is he? He's only about, he's P4 in the championship, 83 points. And he's only 27 points behind. Do you know what? If he wins this race, and if he takes the fast lap of the Grand Prix as well, because if you get the fast lap, you will get a point. But if he wins this race, that means he... Come on, Jamie, let's do the maths here. Let's do the maths. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I had it in my head. Now I've lost it. This is why I don't be trusted with maths, because I am absolutely shocking when it comes to maths. I'm not shocking when it comes to maths, but it's just multitasking at the same time. I had it in my head, and it disappeared. So if he wins this race, it'll be 2 points behind the championship leader, Sasha. Sasha is not here tonight. Robbie Jacobs is responding too, and he is in the pit lane right now. Maybe the undercut could work against the guys who are staying out longer too. Is the offset strategy going to work, or is the undercut strategy going to work in this race? There is 20 laps left to go in this race, and this is when the pit stops will start happening soon. Every single driver will switch over to the hardcore power tyres soon in this race, and we'll see if the guys who pitted earlier have made the right choice. It's a long pit lane too. It's such a long pit lane. Is Robert going to be joined ahead of Stefan? Has Stefan had a bit of a mess up moment there as well? Here he comes out of the pit lane. We go down it towards turn 1. And Stefan, will he get the undercut on his teammate? No, he won't. He stays behind, but he's super close. Will he dare go down the inside of his teammate down towards turn 7? This is a big chance for him to overtake Robbie Jacobs as we exit turn 5. Robbie Jacobs has got to get these tyres warmed up to optimal working window. Stefan's tyres will be warmed up now, but he's not close enough to make a move. I don't think it's a wise thing to do either to fight. So let's, yeah, I don't know why I suggested these two are going to fight, because if they did fight, it means they lose time, and that means what's the point of the undercut when you're going to fight each other? So yeah, it makes sense not to fight, stay in formation, and just try and get the undercut on the guys ahead. So now I think we're going to see some more people in the pit lane right now. And Eric as well, what is he going to do? Is he going to change his wing? If he does, he'll lose so much time and possibly be joined behind Milan Langer in P6 as well. His teammate, the Dutchman, a former champion in JSR. But here we are towards the end of the final couple of corners. Eric's in the pit lane, and Kick and Ryan are still out there too, so they're elongating their first stint out there on those mini compound tyres. They feel comfortable to keep going on the mini compound tyres too. But I dare say Eric will drop to the back of this DRS train as the Haas pit crew are changing his wing. And it's going to be a long time in the pit lane too, about 8-9 seconds in the pit lane. Nice livery on the car too, in the Haas. Oliver Behrman scored P7, didn't he, at the Australian Grand Prix? That was an impressive. Haas are looking very strong again. And Haas have become like a handy midfield team as well. A good lineup with Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon, but I dare say Ocon. I think for the time being, Behrman is better than Ocon. I hate to say, well, I think it's the truth really. It's not a British bias, of course, but look at this battle going on here between the Dutchies. Gattekas, Fireblaze, Milan Langer, all in formation. Milan Langer's former teammates ahead of him, Fireblaze and Gattekas. When Milan Langer was in McLaren, he was teammates with Gattekas, and that's when he won the championship too. And now they're both separated to different teams, Haas and Williams. Fireblaze and Milan Langer were teammates too. I think Fireblaze has had a championship here in JSR as well. I think he has, don't quote me on that. And for those people who don't know, Van Joke is a 7-time champion of this league. A 7-time champion, if you can believe it or not. Obviously, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding that too, with his antics, it must be said. I wonder if the guys ahead now pitting. Kick is, but Ryan is still extending there on his mini-cut power tyres, so mega job on those mediums. I'm surprised these guys can keep going on the mini-cut pod tyres. So where are the two Ferraris? There they are, as Eric has picked up a penalty in this race. Look how much he's dropped backwards too. Kick is in the pit lane, and Eric 7.5 seconds behind. He's lost so much time with that damage in the pit lane. But here we go then. This is where we'll see the changes. The two Ferraris, line astern. Is Kick going to be drawn behind him? The answer is yes. There he is by a milestone, but he does have better hardcore power tyres, only by 3 laps against both Ferraris. So let's see if there's the pace to try and catch back up on his better hardcore power tyres, whilst Milan and Gattekas are fighting over P2. I think these two in the past as well, this season, made contact somewhere. I can remember these two making contact this season, and it hasn't been all happy and smiling for these two. It hasn't been smiles for these guys either. Under the Ellison Bridge we go now, with Milan right behind Gattekas. Milan there trying to form an overtake. He wasn't supposed to be here tonight, but he is. And it's nice to see him racing. A very popular character amongst the paddock. Fireblaze, yes he did. He did win the championship back in Season 6, as Misha's right behind the Mercedes of Vituk. But I'm surprised Viatuk in P4 is not closing in on the guys ahead. I'm surprised that Misha's fighting him, considering he's on the mini-cut power tyres. You expect his tyres to be better now at this stage of the Grand Prix, because surely the mini-cut power tyres are past the absolute limit, as Ryan, the race leader, is in the pit lane. Milan and Gattekas stare once more. Ryan trundles down the pit lane 60 km/h, that's about 37 miles per hour. Down the pit lane he goes. Change over to hardcore power tyres, and we'll see where the former race leader will rejoin. Behind both Ferraris by a long way, but is his tyres going to make up the deficit towards the end? He's behind the Haas and the McLaren of Kick and Eric. He's behind Eric, surprisingly. Look at that. So going a long way on the hardcore power tyres. He's reached the P9 and behind Eric, who pitted and lost so much time. But Milan is right behind Gattekas as they both struggle for traction at the exit of turn 6. We go now towards 7 as both Ferraris swap places there. This is good for Ferrari. Do you know what? I think Ferrari are in a good place right now. I think it's best for them, like it was back in Singapore 2023 when Carlos Sainz gave Norris the DRS. Of course, they weren't working together. Carlos Sainz would just be tactical. He knows Norris was going to overtake you because it could be difficult to overtake a Ferrari with better straight line speed. But what I'm saying is, it could be a Saudi Arabia situation back in 2025 when Carlos Sainz and Albon worked together to keep Isaac Hadjar behind him. These two, if they want a shot at first place, they've got a track position. They need to use the track position wisely. Don't fight each other unless you're going to trade places, like swap DRS and swap around every time. So I think the two Ferrari drivers in P5 and P6 may have to race in their hands, and then the guys behind will be quicker. I'm surprised Eric's ahead of Kick and Ryan, as Milan and Gattekas swap places once again because Gattekas is in the pit lane. So I think teamwork needs to be introduced here at Ferrari to have the best possible outcome in this race. They could have the race in their hands now in P5 and P6, because we've known how notoriously difficult it is to overtake around here in Singapore. We saw it in the first stint. Only the top two in the race swapped around. So these two, knowing how difficult to overtake it is, keep the guys behind. Robert should have DRS the back of Esteban, vice versa too if they swap around. So, has Ferrari pulled a blind or strategy in P4 and P5? The first time saying that for a long time. Ferrari's strategies, what were they doing honestly under VSC? Like, it's unbelievable. Even the second VSC, I know Hamilton passed the pit lane the second VSC, but it's so frustrating all the time because you want Ferrari, like, I'm a massive Ferrari fan, and it's just so increasingly frustrating every single goddamn race they mess up. And I was a massive Sebastian Vettel fan. Sebastian Vettel's last win, by the way, was here at the Singapore Grand Prix, and yeah, it was a nice victory indeed because Canada, he got a 10-second time penalty in the race, and it's just been a bad season for him overall as well. Lost his mojo a bit after the crash in Germany, but yeah, I was a Sebastian Vettel fan back then, and it was nice to see him get a win as well. The Lion of Singapore, I think he's won around here 4 or 5 times in Singapore. Should have won, I don't know actually, but Sauber's made a mistake down there, as we see Misha in the pit lane to change over the hardcore powered tyres. What's happened to Mummy Nick? Has he got a puncher? Surely not on those hardcore powered tyres, just massive wheel spin. Possibly suffering with thermal degradation too as he has the lockup. Right, how are Ferrari in the second half of the race going to control the race? They have performed the undercut. Has the undercut worked? They've got track position. They need to use it now and be smart and play it safe. The guys ahead are too far ahead. Milan Lange and Rizzo. They don't have to worry about those two because they're on the old hard mini-car powered tyres. They have to worry about the guys behind. Eric, Kick and Ryan and Fireblaze and Hatakas. Hatakas is too far back because he made a pit stop a long time, 1 lap ago. Are we going to see the two Ferrari drivers work together now in this race? Robbie Aqua's first win of the season and Stefan's first win of the season, because these two Ferrari drivers have yet to win a race yet this season. So one of them could end up on a win and have Ferrari 1-2. And what a glorious amount of points as well to be taken away. Robbie Jacobs has scored a podium, so has Stefan. They have both scored podiums previously this season. P2s for Robbie Jacobs 3 times, and Stefan's had a couple of P3s as well. But this is now in their hands to win this race. I don't think a 2-stop is necessary around here either. Look at Eric. Do you know what? Eric has got some mighty pace in the Haas. Despite a broken wing, he's not too far behind, and despite having a loss of end plate as well, Kick and Ryan are behind him surprisingly too. I bet Eric must be so frustrated, and he's got a 3-second penalty as well. So yeah, Eric there in P5, unfortunately being quick but not consistent and keeping it in the white lines. The comments as well popping up there, not quite sure why he keeps doing that. Lap 17, 31 to go in this race. He won't get spicy now, but he'll get spicy later on when I think Eric will catch up towards the back of these two, and followed by Kick and Ryan and Fireblaze too, because they're all in the wheel tracks of each other, all following in that dirty air of each other too. The Ferrari drivers just enjoying the track position they have so far in P3 and P4. I'm surprised with Milan Lange. Oh, what's happened to Mum and Nick there? Struggling to get the pit lane. He could have retired as well. He could have retired in the race. Yep, he's retired from the race. What is Milan doing there in first place? Is he goal hanging for a safety car? He is probably goal hanging for a safety car too. Is Milan nothing to lose? So why not? He's just hoping somebody behind will call a safety car, but 16 laps on these mini-car powered tyres is an impressive performance there for Milan Lange. But unfortunately for him, once he makes his pit stop, he might fall down. Where will he fall down? P10, I think. Yeah, so Milan Lange will rejoin in P10 after his pit stop because he's losing so much time on these mini-car powered tyres. And now he finally makes a pit stop, so no safety car for him to aid in the bet his race as he slowly makes his way in the pit lane. It's a difficult pit lane entry. You don't want to be overdoing it, of course. The only driver, here we go, they're down towards turn one. Stefan has overtaken the Mercedes, and Robbie Jacobs needs to overtake him quickly now too to follow Stefan. If Stefan is smart, he will not pull away from Robbie Jacobs. There we go. Oh no, side by side. Oh, there we go. Finally, Robbie Jacobs gets ahead. I thought for 1 second that the Mercedes might try and fight, but there's no point fighting because his hardcore power tires are dropping off like a stone. He's falling off the cliff on those hardcore power tires too. Oh, down the inside! Oh, for one second I thought that Ryan might overtake the McLaren driver in towards turn 7, but not on that occasion. Oh, look at these guys. They're stuck behind the ops. Oh, Eric, be careful, man. Don't want to be doing that. This is what I mean, because I've noticed this season too, when somebody's behind on older tyres, on newer tyres, they get caught up with the driver in front of them because they don't adapt to their speed. You've got to adapt to their speed. I know it's frustrating to be stuck behind somebody on all the tyres, but down the inside goes Eric. That's a late lunge there, but he makes it stick. Here comes Ryan up the inside, a kick. Oh, contact between the Red Bull. The Mercedes and the Haas there. But look at this, Racing Bull versus Mercedes versus McLaren. As we go 3 wide in towards turn 17 we go. Kicks in the middle, but he gets ahead. And Ryan too will get ahead as well. He puts himself up into P5. Ryan was the last one to pit in this gaggle of cars. And now he's suffering the consequences by being stuck in traffic. And Fireblaze as well is desperate to overtake the Mercedes driver. But he can't do it. Now he can, because the Mercedes driver has pulled out of the way. And that's the unfortunate outcome for Ryan too. He was leading this race, but he's stuck behind Kick and Eric. It's a Ferrari 1-2, and they triggered the early undercut. But how better are these guys' tyres to perform an overtake on the guys ahead as well? Eric is catching surely as well, slowly but surely, gaining by lap, and that DRS train will be connected soon. Fireblaze seems to be struggling too to keeping the DRS train of the guys ahead. Eric goes off the track at turn 7 there. But JSR Ryan tries to go down into the kick in towards the Anderson Bridge, but he couldn't quite make it stick and had to stay behind him. So that was an audacious move at the inside too. Robbie Jacobs, 2-time champion of JSR in P2, but he's struggling to keep up with Stefan in P1 there. Surely you don't want to do that. Surely you want to keep your Ferrari teammate in DRS range, because if you don't, that means Eric and Kick will overtake Robbie Jacobs, and then Eric will overtake Stefan. So keep your teammate within DRS range. I don't think there's no point for Stefan to pull away. If he wants to win this race, you've got to play it smart. Don't break away from the DRS train from your own teammate there. Just keep him in the DRS range, unless Robbie Jacobs is struggling. Now he's close behind him, so I think Robbie Jacobs could be struggling there as well in P2. Made a mistake somewhere. What's happened to Eric? He's dropped back 2 places. He's struggling through turn 1 as well. And now he's got Fireblades all over the back of him. So Eric made a big mistake down towards turn 1. I hope he's not driving in frustration there as well, knowing he's got a penalty in this race. Don't want to be ruining other people's races too. But why is Stefan pulling away from Robbie Jacobs? That's not the wise thing to do, because you know that Kick will overtake Robbie Jacobs if Robbie Jacobs doesn't have DRS to the back of Stefan. So they've got to work together in harmony to get the best possible result. We know how difficult it is to overtake around here. If Robert could stay behind Stefan and swap DRS in these last 10 laps of the Grand Prix, that's what they've got to do now in this race. If they lose this race, then it's self-inflicted. But why is Stefan pulling away? It's 9/10 of a second. The gap is 1.2 behind Robbie Jacobs too. I hope both Ferrari drivers are working together, but they're not in a party together, I don't think, because Stefan is on PC and Robbie Jacobs is on PlayStation. So different consoles, but same team. Hopefully have the same idea too. Because Kick, if he wins this race, that'll be his 3rd win of the season as well. Kick has been on form as well. Let's not forget about him in P3. Underrated race, but he's still got Ryan behind him as well on his new hardcore power tyres. Ryan makes a mistake as well. Ryan had the race in his hands at the early parts of the Grand Prix, but unfortunately for him, he pitted a bit too late. He's done it to people, and now the DRS train has been brought back together for the lead of the Grand Prix, but they swapped around ever since those round of pit stops. It's really changed up the order, and we've got a completely different order too. And it's Stefan who leads ahead of Robbie Jacobs, kicking P3, Ryan in P4. Now the DRS will be enabled for these guys as well. Eric is 1.5 behind. Fireblaze will be frustrated too in P6 that the DRS has been lost for him against Ryan in P4. You know what? I'm wondering how this last part of the race is going to go down, because I know Robbie Jacobs and Stefan will want to win this race, obviously, but how will they play it out? Will Robbie Jacobs just sit behind his teammate and until laps 30, laps 31 and go for an overtake? Kick is too close for comfort behind him as well in P3, so maybe Robbie Jacobs could be struggling there in P2 on the hardcore powered tyres. Bear in mind though, Robbie Jacobs is on the controller too, which means tyre wear is a bit more worse in comparison towards the wheel. Oh, what's happened there? And it's Eric who's became a nuisance now, and they spun as Eric. Please don't score safety car because I want to see how this last part of the race go down. I know when Eric gets angry, he starts making stupid decisions and mistakes, so I really hope that you don't do that because we don't need that kind of thing, especially when it's like 11 people. So if you're going to retire, do it in the pit lane, don't do it on the track because there's no point now. You've lost the race, you're down in P9. If you want to finish the race, then finish the race, of course, but just don't put it in the wall because there's no need to. And that's what frustrates me the most as well, because when people do that, it just ruins the race, doesn't it? It may benefit the guys behind with a safety car, but it's just an unnecessary safety car. Look at this, Kick is right behind Robbie Jacobs too, so better corner speed there for Kick. He may separate the two Ferrari drivers, and Stefan's win could be in a bit of jeopardy too, with Kick on the back of Robbie Jacobs, sorry, from P2. This is going to go down to the wire, and Eric's retiring the pit lane. Well, thank you, Eric. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that core safety car, and I respect that too, because I know that in the past, that some people here have core safety cars, because when they lose their temper, when they lost the race, they just say, F it, put it in the wall, and core safety car. But thank you, Eric, for not doing that. I'd rather you guys retire in the pit lane than do it on the track. But this, a four-way fight for first place, unless Fireblades can catch up. He should catch up, actually, because Stefan and Robbie Jacobs on old tyres, so maybe it could be a five-way fight. Maybe hard to cast 2 in P6 and on younger tyres, of course. Look at Robbie Jacobs under massive pressure from Kick. Kick got a big chance to win this Grand Prix, but he's stuck behind the 2 Ferrari drivers and somehow got to split them both up. But where can he split them both up? You would have thought Robbie Jacobs, yeah, he has. I was going to say that Robbie Jacobs should have saved us some battery behind his teammate whilst he had the clean air, which he did, so it may be beneficial. But what can Kick do in P3? Robbie Jacobs is going to be driving on his mirrors. Down the inside goes Ryan on the inside too. In towards 15 we go. Oh my goodness me. Kick as well has to defend an attack from Ryan behind him as well. So he's also watching out for his mirrors to see what Ryan's going to do. Ryan, the former race leader here. That was turn 16, sorry. But this race is really spicing up. We've got 5 different possibilities of who could win this Grand Prix. I have no idea. It could be Kick, it could be Ryan, it could be Fireblaze, it could be Stefan or Robbie Jacobs. Who knows? But it's all down to the wire between these guys. Fireblaze has caught up to this DRS train. I expect Huttercast to do the same thing as well in P6. It's been a really good race so far at the Singapore Grand Prix. I've really enjoyed it, and we've still got a long way to go as well. Robbie Jacobs there in P2 under massive pressure. In the last 7 or 8 laps in this race he'll be surviving, but Stefan, why are you trying to break up the DRS range of your own teammate? I think Robbie Jacobs could be struggling too, but Stefan, give your teammate DRS. Don't pull away from him, give him DRS. I think Robbie could be struggling too in the Ferrari. Now he's got the DRS on the back of his teammate. But it's really important that Robbie Jacobs has the DRS on the back of Stefan, because if he doesn't, Kick will get past him, and therefore Kick will have a big chance to win this Grand Prix on newer tyres. So it could be a chance that Robbie Jacobs is struggling on the hardcore power tyres. We've seen him so far, not carrying his speed through the corners either. So I don't think Stefan is trying to break out the DRS range. I think Robbie Jacobs is just struggling in general because of his hardcore power tyres. Surely you think this is a big shot for Ferrari to win this Grand Prix. There is 7 laps left to go in this race, but Robbie Jacobs in P3 is struggling. You can see how much he is struggling in turn 1 and turn 2. He was going to power down. He looks hesitant. He looks very hesitant indeed. The Kick is right behind him. The Ferrari dream may come to an end very soon because Robbie Jacobs in P2 is struggling for grip on his hardcore power tyres. But luckily he does have his teammates off the DRS at the back of him as well, so it's really important for Robbie Jacobs as well to try and nail these corners. As long as you can get a decent exit at turn 5 and turn number 13 under the Anderson Bridge. Turn 15 as well, 14, 15. If you can nail those exits, then you should be okay. Try and save batteries as well behind your teammate. Yeah, Robbie Jacobs is certainly struggling here in the Ferrari, not able to keep up with his teammate. His teammate seems to be pulling away. And Ryan down the inside once again. We're side by side in towards turn 13 we go. Robbie Jacobs is really struggling for traction. But Ryan, when he get ahead of Kick, the side by side down towards turn 14 we go. Kick back down the inside of Ryan. They make contact as well for good measure. Ryan's in the wall. And here comes Fireblaze. Fireblaze side by side with the McLaren driver. Oh, Kick. Can he take away P4 with the battery, with the ERS? We go wheel to wheel in towards turn 15. Fireblaze around the outside. Fireblaze takes away P4. And just like that, things could change within an instant, within the blink of an eye. The Racing Bull driver, the Red Bull driver there as well. Up into P3, up into P4. Kick, however, has lost his chance to win the Grand Prix after showing some tremendous pace. He was the one hunting down Robbie Jacobs and Stefan, but in the end, he got caught out by Ryan going down the inside too. I think the two Ferrari drivers are in massive trouble. If Ryan can do moves like that on Kick, he could definitely do moves like that on Robbie Jacobs. I think Ryan could be the one to win this Grand Prix, in P3. There is no way Robbie can defend for Ryan, considering how much pace he has on hand, and considering how much his tyres are better in comparison towards Robbie Jacobs as well. Milan goes up into P7 ahead of Misha. All of a sudden, Kick was the one to favour to win, but now he's being shuffled into P5. And now his chances to win this race are slimmer and slimmer because Fireblaze has got up to P4. So I wonder how he's feeling there. And look who's caught up. Look who's caught up in this battle. Kass, the man in P6, has caught up. The man that won the Monaco Grand Prix is in P6 and hunted down the guys ahead. This is tremendous indeed. However, the two Ferrari drivers got track position. But how long will that last? Because we know that Ryan is gaining more and more time, especially on those younger hard compound tyres he has on that Racing Bull. I wonder how Robbie Jacobs is going to defend against this. And Kass is right behind Kick as well. So Kick is starting to struggle now on those hard compound tyres. He was the aggressor, but he's now vulnerable and suffering there in the McLaren there too. So I wonder how he's lost the pace. But Ryan, hits the back of Robbie Jacobs. And Robbie Jacobs may go wide into towards turn, but he does go wide and struggling to stay on the track too. Ryan's closest speed was too much there against the Ferrari. Do you remember back in 2019 when Danny Kvyat and Kimi Räikkönen made contact in towards turn number 1 and they were both out of the race, but Robbie Jacobs has almost lost the DRS against his teammates. And look at Fireblaze too. Fireblaze is there too in P4, so we've got multiple people attacking and defending at the same time. This race could go to anybody's hands, and Milan Lange is not too far behind either. This could be a 7-way fight for first place. Unbelievable. Somehow the two Ferrari drivers are still in first and second place. They've had Kick behind them, they've had Ryan behind them, Fireblaze behind them too. A long race under massive pressure. They've been on the defensive ever since they pitted. It may have worked for now, but later on in the race, that's when Ryan could potentially make his move. I'm surprised that Ryan hasn't got a pass because we saw how amazingly quick he was against Kick. Oh, he's got damage! He's got damage! Ryan in P3, he's got damage now. Explains why he's struggling now in these corners. And the pendulum may swing back towards Ferrari's way. Has that damage to find his race now? Has it halted him to win the Grand Prix? But Robbie Jacobs is really struggling in these corners. He's not able to get the power down. Oh, Robbie almost lost it too. This game really intense in this race. Fireblaze in P4. If Ferrari win this race, then what a mega race from both Ferraris. Absolute credit, but there's still 4 laps to go in this race, and anything could happen between these guys at the top of the field. Milan Lange and Misha have caught up, so the top 8 are together on the track in this DRS train, reconnected, but in different orders in comparison towards the first stint. There is 10 people in this race, and yet 8 of them are together on this track. 8 of them are in the first sector. Well, now the Mercedes is in P9. But this is just unbelievable here. What's going on here at the JSR Grand Prix in Singapore? Can Esteban get his first win since last season? Can Robbie Jacobs get his first win this season? The former champion, the 2-time champion of JSR in P2. Ryan, a race winner back at the Brazilian Grand Prix for the first race of the season. Fireblaze won back in Austria. Kick won at the Chinese Grand Prix as well early on this season. And the Baku Grand Prix as well. Kass won at the Monaco Grand Prix. Milan Lange hasn't even picked up a podium back in China too. I'm surprised I can remember all that in the space of a few minutes, but yeah, that's the history these guys got. Milan Langer, a one-time champion, but the man with the most wins here in JSR, in P7, in the Haas. Misha on the back of this DRS. Look at these guys, so close together indeed. All putting each other under massive, massive pressure for the race. There's a massive chance for a podium as well for these guys. But Stefan with the oldest tyres. Look at that. It's the oldest tyres in reverse. 18, 17, 14, 15, 15, 13, 10, 12 as well. You can definitely tell who pitted earlier, and you can definitely tell what the outcome is and how it benefited them in this race too. But there is 4 laps left to go in this race still, and Fireblaze is right behind Ryan. Can he make an overtake going down towards turn 7? He can't. Or he might go down the inside, but he can't make the move because he's too far behind. But we know Ryan is struggling with the lack of downforce in the car as well because he's broke his end plate. He has broken his end plate, which means he will start to struggle in these mid-speed, high-speed corners too. His best chance now for him is the podium in P3. He was the one who was leading the Grand Prix, but now his chances of winning have possibly faded away and slipped in his hands after hitting the back of Robbie Jacobs, which caused him to get damage. Milan Langer had to gas once again in a battle for P6 with side by side now on the short straight, headed down in towards turn 16 we go. Later the brakes goes Hattekas, but Milan Langer is still in the outside. Milan Langer takes away P6 from Hattekas. He moves at 1 place. He's on much better tyres, of course. Hattekas will not fire back again. Oh, down the inside goes Misha. He goes on the inside there, almost takes out Milan too. And he's still wheel to wheel, but Misha gets ahead. He puts himself up into P7, so Hattekas has fallen down into P8. Milan moves up 1 place. Misha moves up 1 place too. There is 3 laps left to go in this race, and it could be a Ferrari 1-2. Stefan could get his first win here at the Singapore Grand Prix since last season. Unbelievable. Look at that. Ryan's really struggling now, and in the clutches of Fireblaze. Kind of Fireblaze gets the exit he needs to get the podium, the final spot on the podium, as he taps the wall. Out of turn 5 we go. Down towards this straight. Not long enough for these drivers, unfortunately, for these guys. But we're headed down towards turn 7, and Milan Langer is right behind Kick. In towards the braking zone we go. Kick remains ahead of Milan Langer, but how much longer? Because his tyres are much older in comparison to Milan, who's now looking for late race resurgence against these guys as well, trying to pick these drivers off one by one if he can. But this has been such a controlled race for Ferrari. Their strategy has worked to perfection. I don't want to call it early. I don't want to give the commentators curse already at this part of the Grand Prix, but their strategy call has been an absolute blinder, and ever since they took control of the race, they never looked backwards. Yes, they have looked backwards because they've been driving on the defensive, they've been driving on their mirrors, with the guys behind putting them under all sorts of pressure in this race, but not enough to diminish them and overtake them. Ryan's robust attack unfortunately comes to an end with his broken front wing, and Fireblaze as well, looking for a podium this season, the first one since Austrian Grand Prix when he won it. There is 3 laps left to go in this race. Still plenty of action could be undone in this Grand Prix. But Ferrari drivers are not too far away from home. They're not too far away from the checkered flag. And Stefan, coached by the 7-time champion of Ben Joke, is about to make his Dutchman very, very happy indeed. Stefan and Ben Joke are very close friends indeed, and seeing Stefan win will mean a lot for Ben Joke. Stefan has had a bit of a rocky season so far this season, but he's picked up some podiums before in the past as well. And this will be his first win since last season. A very handy driver with Stefan. I wondered where his progress diminished early this season, but it looks like he's picked it back up. And it seems like he's on the par once again. It seems like he's got some pace back, like he had before. And once he has the pace, he can start performing some really good races as well. Look at Robbie Jacobs, once again struggling in the Ferrari there. Ryan is all over the gearbox of Robbie Jacobs. His tyres are starting to give up the ghost. His tyres have come to an end. the peak of their performance have gone. He's on a life edge. Ryan going left to right, but he's going around the outside there. Doesn't have the grip. And Fireblaze, he's side by side now. Massive wheel spin. Here comes Milan against Kick. Fireblaze versus Ryan there for P3, the final spot on the podium between these two. And Fireblaze has the inside line. Going into more 70 we go. The side by side Ryan goes off the track. What's happened behind us? McLaren driver and Milan have made contact as well. Misha up into P5. Ryan's into P4. What has happened to those two? Kick and Milan Langer have made contact, and Milan will go past Kick. That was very intense indeed between these guys, but Milan will be absolutely frustrated with that. I think they've both got damage, those two, so yeah, a bit of a silly goose going on there between those two. But Fireblaze is on the podium, up into P3. The man somehow finds his way not only in JSR but in STN. He somehow creeps his way on the podium. It's unbelievable. Here goes Misha now on Ryan. Misha goes, you know what? A great driver, Misha. Started last place up into P4. Underrated drive from the Red Bull driver. When you get Fireblaze, you know what? If Misha overtakes Fireblaze, then he must drive the day for sure, because he was nowhere. He was absolutely nowhere. Fireblaze is weaving left and right. Is he saying no? Don't do it? It's a Ferrari 1-2, Red Bull 3-4, but in which order? Is the Ferrari drivers about to get split? Can Fireblaze take on Robbie Jacobs? Robbie Jacobs is struggling those hard compound tyres. Here we go then, this could be where everything could be decided and defined for this race to be concluded as we head down towards turn 16 once more. Or turn 14, sorry. It's pivotal, very important to get the exit you need now. DRS enabled, all the battery incinerated on this straight. But Misha is too far back unless a dive bomb might happen. It won't happen. But Fireblaze is all at the back of the Ferrari driver. But this has been a superb, controlled, executed race from both Ferrari drivers. Stevan is about to make his way towards the line. Stevan wins the Singapore Grand Prix, and it's a Ferrari 1-2. What an executed strategy for both of them. Pulled an absolute blinder. It's a mega result for both Ferraris indeed, and they made the strategy work today. They were the ones that pulled the trigger early, and they were the ones that made it sticky as well. So well done to both of them in the end. Mega drive. And Stevan will be absolutely pleased with that race win as well. Fireblaze into P2. P3, sorry. Robbie Jacobs. Why do people do that? Yeah, well done to those guys today. It's been an absolute mega race. I really enjoyed it. Do you know what? I came to Singapore thinking, oh, I can't be bothered. But do you know what? It wasn't a bad race in the end. Well, that will conclude the Singapore Grand Prix, and what a race that was. Full of action, full of surprises, strategy. Great innovation from both of our drivers too. They worked cohesively together, which executed and gave them the perfect result for the race. And despite not having track position, despite being stuck in the DRS train in the first part of the race, they were the ones that moved the pieces on the chessboard. They were the ones that checkmated the guys ahead of them, and they were the ones that took the maximum points today. So well done to those two. They absolutely deserved it, and it was nice to see them both working together to get the best possible result, because they were hunted down ever since the second half of the race when the guys behind them made a pit stop and on newer tyres. Fireblaze is in the party, and I was just talking about you, Fireblaze. I was saying, mate, that somehow, some way, you made your way back at the podium. Now, talk to us through that race as well, because you were in no man's land at one point. You just stuck there, hanging around in that DRS train, and all of a sudden, things start happening in front of you. People make contact, and you took advantage of Ryan. And talk us through, mate, how are you feeling? You must be absolutely elated and ecstatic with that podium today, mate. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And what does this do for you now in terms of confidence and booster for the next races?
Well, first of all, of course, it's going to give me a bit of a confidence boost because I was able to work my way up around such a difficult circuit, especially to overtake. But in the first stint, it was just trying to manage a bit and also seeing where the race went, because I had no clue on strategy, to be fair. I was just loosely basing it off what I had heard. But yeah, which was around lap 13. But apparently, a lot of people wanted to go a bit earlier as well, which actually surprised me quite a bit. But yeah, luckily enough, after I pitted to the hard, I had some quite good pace. Like initially, it was a bit mediocre, but when I got into the stint, it just started to ramp up, and then of course the stuff, they see the incidents happening around me. Yeah.
And talk us through the battle with Ryan, because your heart rate must have been going that there's a chance for a podium as well. Do you think it might get a bit messy, considering it's a battle for the podium and Ryan as well being heated with that front wing damage, and considering he was the one that controlled the pace, you guys could have come into contact. How do you think, in your perspective of view, that the battle folded down towards turn 16? Because yes, Ryan went off the track, but it was a heated battle indeed, and you came out on top.
Well, I mean, I did give him just enough room, if I remember correctly, but yeah, in my opinion, it's just hard and fair racing, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree as well, because Ryan was suffering with front damage as well. And did you think that maybe when you got past Ryan, there was a shot of Robbie Jacobs, because Robbie Jacobs was sliding around on his old hard compound tyres? Did you think that he could be there for taking?
Well, maybe with 1 or 2 laps extra, but yeah, the following lap I just didn't really have the battery as well, and then yeah, the controller grip, in my opinion, was quite immense. Like they were driving away from me in the corners, whilst I was just, or sorry, corner exits, whilst I was just wheel spinning throughout them. But yeah. Well,
thank you very much, Fireblaze. It's been an absolute pleasure once again. And how do you feel for your home Grand Prix at the Dutch GP?
Well, I don't really like the track all too much, but yeah, for the rest, I think it's alright, and I hope to do well there.
Well, congratulations, Dave, mate. Goed gedaan vandaag. Make a job, top job.
Dankjewel.
Geen probleem. So yeah, thank you, Fireblaze, for joining the podium series. I don't think we'll get Rob in here. He should be happy, because considering that, I don't think there's a chance for him to win the Grand Prix, because his hard compound tyres just simply gave up. But the guys behind were the ones that made the mistakes, and also it helps with the moves as well. But yeah, thank you, Fireblaze. Well done today, and see you next week. But yeah, that is it for the Singapore Grand Prix. And what a heated eventful race that was, literally in Singapore, with the drivers there getting the robots out, and some of them making contact towards the end of the race. There was 10 people left, and 8 of them were the ones that were in that DRS train fighting for the lead. Could you believe it? I feel sorry for the guys who were just following. I'm not quite sure who it was. I think it was Ralph in P10 and Rear Tuck as well in P9. So those two were attached with the DRS train the whole race, and were just alone. But it's better to score points either way for those guys, so well done to those two for staying in the race and scoring those points. And we move on to the Dutch GP, the home of many, many Dutchmen in this league. So yeah, we'll see which drivers will win. I presume, I'm going to make a bold statement here, but I presume a Dutch driver will win the home Grand Prix next week. Do you think that, Blaze?
That's a very bold statement, but I think it's also going to go Dutchman, but maybe, just maybe Belgium.
If Robbie Ackles can spoil the party. Yeah. Let's see if it's the Dutch 1-2-3 with many, many Dutchmen here. You think it'd be, but we'll see if a Dutchman, a Belgian driver, can spoil the party. Can Robbie Jacobs spoil the Dutchman's party, the Stroop Waffles? We'll see, but we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now.